Welcome to the Females Across the Pond and Beyond podcast. Hi, I'm Clara.
Hi, I'm Angie. We're here to share all things email and beyond. We go through the trials and tribulations of running your own business, being your own boss, and sending your own email marketing.
As email marketing experts, we're dedicated to helping small businesses thrive so they can have more freedom in their business.
Ready to get started? Let's dive into the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Females Across the Pond and Beyond podcast. We're so excited to dive into this one. We are going to talk about those email marketing platforms that we think are the best for small business owners and ones to maybe stay away from, or maybe just giving you a clearer picture of the pros and cons of each so that you can decide for yourself what you would like to use for your email marketing platform, or if you're already on one, if you would like to possibly switch over, which we see a lot of small business owners end up doing, which is totally okay too. But before we dive into that, Clara, you want to give us a little rundown? What's been going on with you and for the past couple weeks since we got together?
Yeah, good. It's summer here in the UK. I was saying earlier that we went to a comedy festival at the weekend, and it's great to see live comedy. Some really great comedians. You just don't do that. Well, I haven't done that in ages, so it was really nice to do.
Was
And
that in London?
no, in St Albans, so like let's say an hour from London, but it was nice. It was great to be outside, and it's just been busy with like I'm trying to think what I've been doing. It's just been quite hectic. But that's one of the things. And then yesterday we went to a jazz festival. So a lot of music and comedy and live events. How about yourself?
Yeah, just, I was telling Clara that the whole family had gotten sick about a couple weeks ago, and that kind of just derails everything when that happens, taking care of kids. So yeah, we're just kind of getting back into the swing of things. We are going on vacation next week, so we're just kind of getting ready, getting everything ready to go to the beach and making sure we have everything for the boys. That's just kind of been the number one priority. And then looking forward to taking a little bit of time off from work if I can.
That would be so nice. That would be so
I
nice.
know.
Some
I
people are
know.
taking like all of August off, which is incredible. Credit to them.
Someday, that's
Yeah,
a goal for sure.
definitely, definitely,
We're
definitely.
getting there, right? Clara and I are both at the
Yeah,
point in our business where we are starting to offload and hire more contractors and take the implementation of things off of our plate because
definitely.
we find that running our business is a full-time job in itself as well.
100%. Yeah. No, it's a nice feeling. But I hope you have a wonderful holiday. It'll be so nice
Thank
to get
you.
away.
Thank you. But let's get into these email accounts because, as email marketers, Clara and I both find ourselves in new email accounts or in multiple email accounts, depending on what our clients are using. So we've had to learn a lot. And we kind of have, our own opinions on what we think has been the best for our clients and why. And for some, there's different reasons than others. And we know that choosing an email account to work inside can kind of be intimidating for small business owners, right? I mean, you don't know what you don't know. It's kind of like buying a house for the first time. You don't really know what to look for, in my
Yeah.
opinion, until
Yeah.
like you're in it and then you're like, oh, okay, like I realize this, it can do this and it can't do this. And then by that time you're living inside the email account and typically you just keep pressing forward with whatever you have.
Mm,
Um, do you have any
yeah.
thoughts around that as
I
far
think
as
it's
like,
yeah, I think it's a big decision if you are choosing an account to move or a platform to move across to from where you are currently. I think it's something that you shouldn't just decide one day to do unless you've got a tiny audience, in which case it doesn't really matter. But there's kind of things you need to consider if you have a fairly decent sized audience. You can't just move everything over and switch everything on overnight. It takes time. There's various reasons for that, but there's also, like we're going to go through this in this episode, but you've got to really think about you know, what is it you want to get from the platform. So we'll jump into that for sure. But yeah, it's a big decision.
Yeah, it is. And, I kind of, my clients are always like, how do you decide? Or how would you decide? And one thing that I always say to them is, I think that you should, if you can, open up a free account in like a
Yeah,
couple different email accounts.
yeah,
Because if you're a
definitely.
small business owner, the most important part is if you're going to be doing your emails, you need to feel comfortable inside the account doing your
Definitely.
emails.
Yeah.
Um,
100%. You shouldn't
so
take on something that's just too big for you, like you need to be able to feel comfortable with what you're taking on, particularly if you're going to be paying for it, for sure.
Heck yeah. So, okay, let's go over maybe, okay, do we want to just go into these different platforms and then talk about what we like or what we thought the pros and cons are? And then we'll wrap it up with, how to maybe decide which one is for you at the end.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so. I think the one thing just to consider before we dive in is like what is your objective? Like what do you
mhm.
want to get from the platform? Are you launching a course? Are you looking to sell products? Are you looking to sell a membership? What is it that you want to do and how big is your audience? So these are things to be really clear on before you dive into something that's shiny and new, which all of us do. But with email platforms, you want to be really clear about that. So, but yeah, let's dive in.
Yeah, because there's different platforms that are better for some things than for other things, right?
Exactly.
It's not like a one size fits all. So, yeah, let's get into what they could be. Okay, I want to start off with one platform that I think has really, really, really good marketing, and does a really good job of attracting small business owners in, and that is Flodesk. I have a few clients who have been on Flodesk. I don't think I'm working with anyone right now.
Mm.
Um, but that is a very popular one that I think a lot of small business owners gravitate to because the emails are pretty and it seems really easy to just work inside. Have you worked inside Flowdesk at all, Clara?
Once, but a long time ago. I know aesthetically their emails look great. Like whenever I see if I'm part of an email flow, you can tell if they're a flow desk
Yeah,
email. Like they
yeah,
generally look really nice. But I
yeah.
haven't for a while. So yeah, it'd be good to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as the ease of writing an email and sending an email, it's very easy to do that in Flowdesk. I can see why it attracts small business owners, new people working within the account. It's the GUI, as you would say, the graphic user interface is very easy to follow and understand. But I think with what you find, which happens a lot in sometimes email platforms and sometimes even website platforms is that you'll find that there are these platforms like Flowdesk that have really pretty templates and really pretty layouts. And that's like their biggest selling point is that, you'll have the best looking emails. But as an email marketer, I know that that is the thing that matters the least when it comes to email marketing is how your email looks. And I hate to break it to you. I know that that's what everybody wants to focus on is the look of the email. When really, it's about copywriting. I mean, we see plain text emails just like taking off and doing so well. So those have no design aspects, letter type email. But what really makes a difference inside email accounts and what can really help you scale and grow is having access to your data, easy access to your data and analytics, and also the capability of really curating a personalized experience for um, your subscribers based on like flows and automations triggered by their events. And I have to say about Flowdesk, as you get deeper into, as you grow your list more and you want to segment more and you want to create more flows and you want to create more of a personalized experience, it's just not going to be able to support you. I recently did a migration of a client that had 50,000 subscribers in their Flodesk account. We moved them over to Klaviyo. They immediately started seeing an increase in their sales because we could do things like abandoned cart checkouts, because we could do browse abandonment flows, because we had a lot better data as far as like a welcome flow to a sales flow and things like that. So it just really goes to show that even if it's like a pretty email, platform that
Yeah.
gives you pretty emails, that's not the thing that's going to convert into dollars for you, especially as you grow. So that's kind of been my experience with Flowdesk. They've done a really good job. Like they redid all of their their analytics platform. So it is a bit deeper, but it's still very, very limiting in how you can grab analytics and grab like, yeah, the data on what's working and what's not working. So yeah, I would just take that into consideration as well.
Yeah, I've heard that about Flodesk. I mean, it's a long time ago that I last used it, but I think people do base a lot of decisions on how pretty the emails are. We need to be looking at actual functionality, like what can you actually do? If you can't do an abandoned cart, then that's a big no-no in
Yeah.
my mind. Like
Yeah.
that's a big money spinner for a lot of people having an abandoned cart. So it's just really important that, let's just look at the functionality. If design and branding is important to you, yes, you can have that, but we also want you to be able to deliver a lot of automation as part of that as well. So these are things to be considering for sure.
And I think most small business owners, or you might be listening out here, like, I don't even know what an abandoned cart flow is. Like, I don't know what all this stuff is, which is totally understandable. And that's why it's so hard to kind of talk about different email accounts because you don't know what you don't know. And that's
Yeah.
what tends to happen is you sign up for an email account because you're just looking to send emails and then you don't realize that actually like the big sales and like the fact that email marketing is the number one sales channel, marketing sales channel online, that all comes from a little bit more like automations and flows and just a little tad more advanced stuff that when you're first starting out, you probably don't know. But it's not really that hard. You will, start to learn this stuff.
Mhm.
So that's why it's like, okay, it's good for you to just hear this now so that maybe, as you look into other email accounts, you can be like, okay, what are the flows capability? What are the automation How is the integration with my website? Like, is it going to speak to them when someone, abandons a cart and all of that stuff to look into?
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
Um,
should we move on or
let's
do you
move
have any
on.
more thoughts? Okay. We're going to talk about Mailchimp next. Mailchimp, I think, is one of those platforms that a lot of people also gravitate to. They do a really good job with their marketing. Again, they have a really great brand as far as how they speak to their clients and they speak to their customers. But I don't think Mailchimp would be my number one choice
Mhm.
personally for an email marketing platform because I find it's really difficult to work inside. Even as an email marketer who is used to, going into the tech back end of accounts, like the placement of where things are in Mailchimp is just very, very confusing for me. But on the flip side, Mailchimp does have a lot of capabilities that you wouldn't find in Flowdesk. They do have a lot of like very good integrations with websites. They can do abandoned cart flows. They can do all of the bells and whistles. They can do personalization. They could do flows based off of different triggers. But I find that for like the average small business owner, it takes them a lot longer to set things up inside Mailchimp
Yeah.
because of the back end of it. It's just,
Mm.
yeah, a little confusing. Do you have any thoughts?
I think Mailchimp have got a big advantage in the sense that in the UK, certainly they're like huge. They're actually advertising on TV for the first time, which I've not.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big. I don't know if they
Yeah.
are in the States. Not yet.
I
We
have
haven't
seen
seen it.
advertisements, but I don't know if it's on TV.
So they started to advertise on TV here, which I've not seen any email service provider do to that extent. I actually did go to the Mailchimp conference a couple of months ago, and what they are launching was really interesting. They are looking at something called AI segmentation, which I don't know if it's called that, but basically they are going to start using intelligent segmentation where the platform decides the segment that you should be emailing.
Mm,
Um, I don't think this is going to be now unique to Mailchimp. I think the other ESPs will be figuring this out and having their own version roll out, but I think Mailchimp are quite pretty quick to deliver that. And I've also launched SMS as well for the first time.
oh, good.
Um, so I think uh, there are definitely pros and cons to Mailchimp. I agree with you, and I do think that there are some refinements that Mailchimp needs to make in their kind of user interface.
Yeah.
However, I think looking at their roadmap, there are some really interesting things ahead in terms of where they're taking things in uh, for small businesses. And I do think they're also starting to target slightly bigger businesses now as well. So it's
Yeah.
not necessarily just the small business owner that they're after to help. But I think, yeah, with any platform, it's like Angie said earlier, just go on and sign up for a trial, a free trial, and just see how you get on, because some people might find that they get on really well with Mailchimp or they find they don't. Um, so before you commit to anything financially, certainly sign up. And remember, under a certain amount, it's usually, I mean, it varies by platform, but certainly if you've got a smaller list, a lot of these platforms are going to be free.
Yeah.
We say that with a big caveat that most of these are free if you've got a smaller list, but as you start to grow, they will start to cost.
100%. So take advantage of that while you can. And yeah, but I would say, as far as advanced features, MailChimp has all the bells and whistles. So you can rest assured that if you grow and as you grow, then you will be able to take advantage of those things that are really going to help scale your company with that one. So definitely
Definitely.
one to consider. All right, let's move on to, I feel like these are all mine, and then we'll get into yours. ConvertKit. Have you worked at all in ConvertKit, Clara? You have.
I have, yeah, not as much as the others, but I do like it's interesting, right? Because you um it's certainly more for bloggers or people that
Yes.
like aesthetically please. It's similar to Flodesk in the sense that you have these beautiful emails. So
Hmm.
people, I find that bloggers, creatives, anyone in that kind of space find ConvertKit really um like aligned to their business
And they have like the creator side of things
community.
where you can
Yeah.
community where you can like promote your newsletter and you can also help other people promote their newsletter through yours. Like they have that feature where like if you
Yeah.
subscribe to their newsletter, then that'll offer other newsletters that are similar that this person might like. So like you can get more signups and more subscribers just through there, just through other people subscribing to other people's newsletters through
Yeah.
ConvertKit. And yeah, they just have a lot of like really great, yeah, like you said, community style features for creatives and service providers.
And I think from memory, they rely on tags, don't they, for sending. So when you
Lots of
send,
tagging.
yeah, so you have to have it. So tags, it in all a tag is basically a category that you assign to a certain number of people. So let's say that you have a bunch of people that have bought from you, that maybe they're past clients, that's a tag. Um, so rather than going in and having a list and separate list for each um, type of client, let's say, with ConvertKit, you send to all, but you send basically to a tag, if that makes sense. So your tagging system needs to be really clear as to who you want to target, because that's how they are set up. So tagging is really important in ConvertKit.
Yeah, and I do think that the user interface is very easy to follow in ConvertKit. That's what
Mm,
I like about ConvertKit,
mm.
especially, is that the way that everything is laid out really makes a lot of sense to me as a user. And I also like the ease of just being able to, like, you can grab anyone in a tag and you can do like bulk actions where you like ignite them into a flow or sequence or
Yeah.
send them an email. And so like all of these very easy actions that you can take if you do have your tagging set up well, which it's not a lot, especially if you're just starting out. You probably don't have a lot of tags for people, so you know it can be very simple. Um, but it is easy to like segment with that, and it is easy to create. I do also like they have these features called visual automations
Mm.
where you can really see the customer journey and you can really map out the customer journey very well when they come on to your, like, say they subscribe, then you can say, okay, if they subscribe from this form, then I want them tagged with this, and then I want them to go into this flow, and then I want this tag to be taken off of them. And so you can really map out someone's individual personalized journey depending on, you know, what it is that they do on your site or through your emails. And I really like that feature as well because it's very easy just to kind of like coordinate and set that up. Um, and yeah,
Definitely. I like that as well. I like that feature. I do think it is more suited to creatives, and there's nothing
yeah,
wrong with it's just being, remember, we talked at the start that being aware about what your needs are as a
yeah,
business.
yeah,
So I see a lot
yeah.
of creative type people that run memberships, that kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
for my
yeah,
client, it has a good integration with Podia. So we get like
yeah,
all of her courses are on Podia. So we get all of the people coming in and we're able to send them the correct communication depending on what, you know, what they buy
yeah,
through there. So that's also something to look at. Like, does it integrate with the course platform that you're using, whether that's like Podia or Kajabi or whatever it is, you know, and how do they speak to each other?
yeah,
One thing I will say that I don't really like about ConvertKit, I think they could do a way better job with their data and analytics. They kind
yeah,
of, they're kind of like all over the place. Like the data for the landing pages is like in the landing page section. And then like the data for the campaigns, like you have to individually click on the campaigns. I don't
yeah,
like that. I like a
no,
platform that gives me like a reports data like menu that's all based on that, where it has everything right there that you can see. And they're kind
yeah.
of, it seems like they're kind of using like a secondary, I don't know, software or whatever called Insights to kind of help with that. But even the Insights platform, I'm like, this isn't really giving me a lot that I can work with. So that's definitely a downside of ConvertKit, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's fair. And I think a lot of people that are starting out may not be so worried about analytics, but
No.
I'd say actually it is important, even if you feel like, even if your list is tiny, like you do want to know easily, you want to get some insights as to how they're performing, how
Yeah.
your list is performing. So we don't, you don't need all the bells and whistles, but you certainly want to be able to know, are your emails performing or not? Just a note on integration. We talked about that. We've touched on that word a couple of times. So what
Yeah.
we mean by that is something called native integration in email platforms is basically when they have um, a native, so they have a setup already within the platform that allows you to connect to other platforms with ease. So you don't have to create kind of separate integration. So an example of where there isn't a native integration would be where you have your email platforms such as ConvertKit and say your website that don't speak to each other. You'd need to have some connection with the two. So you might use Zapier, for example.
Yeah.
Zapier. Um, so be aware of that. And one of the things to think about, the questions that should go through your mind is, do I want my email platform to connect to my website, and do they have a native integration for my website? So you want to
Yeah.
be looking at their integration list as to whether your website's on there.
Very, very, very important. It's so
Yeah.
important. Okay, let's move on to Braze. I don't know much about Braze. I've never worked inside of Braze, so I'm gonna hand this one off to Clara.
Yeah, so this is more for those scale up type businesses. So if you are a small business owner, I would say this is something maybe to aim for in the future. It's very powerful in terms of the capabilities. Um, the kind of original thinking with Braze is it's mobile first. So they actually designed for app originally, and it's kind of grown around mobile. So they're very pro mobile. You can deliver SMS through Braze as well. Um, I would say that the ability to personalize at scale is huge for Braze, and hence why with that comes cost. So it is more
Mhm.
expensive. However, the ability to um, email and do dynamic and amazing things with personalization um, is one of its selling points. Um, this I'd say one of the considerations to make, I don't want to say con necessarily, but considerations is before you start working on Braze, you need to make sure your data's in a really good place, because whatever you put into Braze is what's going to come out. So in any projects I've worked on with Braze, there is work to kind of get your data in a really good place before you can move forward with all the amazing, they call them canvases in Braze, but essentially a canvas is an automated flow. Um, so it can be very powerful as to what it can do. You can scale, you can use SMS. The cons would be that it's costly. So it's more designed for those with bigger lists
Mhm.
who are already generating revenue, but these are people who are looking to scale. So
Mhm.
Braze has that function. If you think of all of these as cars, this would be a kind of a car that you'd want to be getting into once you've done your test and you already know how to drive and you're ready to go on those bigger roads. So Braze is one for the future if you're a small business owner, but certainly more suited to those that have a much bigger list and are ready to scale.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's what you're gonna find with a lot of these. A lot of these, like with the beginner ones that we've talked about, like Flodesk, ConvertKit, Mailchimp, like they're easy for people to maybe get on, but as you scale and grow, you might want to you would want to find a platform that can really support scaling and growing like that, and Braze is one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not so friendly to hop on right in the beginning, but certainly
Yeah.
one to migrate to when you have a smaller list and it's easier to migrate, right?
Yeah, exactly. If you've got a bigger list and you're migrating to Braze, it's usually that you'll need some help with that because there's some complexity around migrating. You you have to very briefly, we could do a whole episode on migrating in itself, but you have to warm your IPs, which basically means that um, your IPs are new when you move over to a new um, platform, and therefore, if you were to send all of your volume to that IP, it will set off alarm bells because you're basically suddenly pushing a lot of volume to that IP address. So we need to do it slowly and build up your volume so that you don't cause any kind of concerns around spam filters. There's a lot more to it than that, and we will do an episode on
Yeah, right.
migrations one day if you're interested. But yeah, that's Braze. Um,
What about Brevo?
so Brevo used to be called Send in Blue,
Hmm.
Send in Blue, and they, I would say, are similar to. So I've worked with a client who sold subscriptions through Brevo. Again, I wouldn't start off with Brevo. I'd say they're kind of probably your second platform after you've, been established for 2, 3 years. Um, there's some good automation around Brevo, but I feel personally that the reporting is quite limited in terms of the capabilities, and also the automations around Brevo are um, quite limiting as well. So I think
Mm.
it does a lot of what you need it to do. Um, it's just a case of making sure that you are buying into the right platform for your business and making sure, and to be fair on Brevo, they offer a lot for free. So there is certainly an opportunity to sign up um to their free account, and certainly give their platform a go and see whether it's something you want to try. I think actually for most of the ones we've talked about, trying before you buy is such
Yeah.
an
Try
important
before you
thing.
buy. Yeah. Take a dress test drive.
Yeah, it's a car analogy, right? It's just making sure that you are um happy with what you're choosing because it can be it can be difficult. And with Brevo as well, one other thing to mention is that they charge for emails sent rather than contacts. Rather, so
Mm-hmm.
most of these platforms charge for subscribers, but what Brevo do is they basically charge you for the number of emails you send. So if you want to be one of those Groupon type businesses where you're just emailing every day, Brevo might not be a good choice for you.
Right. Okay. Well, I've never worked inside Brevo, so that's really good to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, another one of those that maybe not right off the bat, but definitely maybe later on something to consider.
Yeah.
Let's switch to another one that we have a lot of big beginners do hop onto, which it is a good one for beginners, MailerLite.
I love MailerLite, and it's actually my go-to recommendation for those just starting out. And the reason for this is there's a lot you get for free. So touched on Mailchimp earlier. There's certain automations you have to pay for, but with MailerLite, you actually get all of your automations for free. So it's up to 500 subscribers that you get um, amazing functionality. So you can run your welcome emails, you can actually do e-commerce through MailerLite. I would say if
Yeah,
you
you can.
are, yeah, I would say if you are just starting out and you're either a service provider or a product business, MailerLite's a really good shout. If you've
Hmm.
got over 1,000 subscribers, you might find that some of the capabilities, particularly around the landing page, which I know that they've literally just updated recently, you might find some of it may be a bit limiting, but I would say overall it's a really great place to start and you get so much for free. And the support that you get from MailerLite is brilliant. Like they do respond.
Oh,
And I did
good.
want to actually say that about Brevo, actually, to be fair on them, their customer support is brilliant as well.
So is
So
ConvertKits. I will say that ConvertKit is
yeah,
very good too. They have a chat that
yeah, and
they'll
I
be
love
right
that.
on it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that because I hate having to just wait for someone to get back to me for days. But yeah, MailerLite are on it. And um I think yeah, there's a lot you can do for free. And I think um it's just a very friendly user interface and it's simple and it doesn't overcomplicate. So very much my go-to for anyone just starting out.
Yeah, that's very cool. I've only worked in one MailerLite account. And I think like it's sometimes it's really hard as us who have worked inside all of these different accounts and we're so used to seeing like all of the bells and whistles. MailerLite to me, I think was a little bit harder for me to navigate because I'm just so used to like the
Yeah.
ease of sometimes these more advanced accounts.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I'm not getting this as quickly as maybe I would. But I think if I was a small business owner and I didn't like,
Started
have
there.
all of
Yeah.
this other access,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably would have had a better experience with MailerLite.
Yeah. I send my emails from MailerLite and I actually feel like you do actually get um a lot for free. But
Yeah,
also even the first subscription tier is like $9 a month. It's hardly anything. So
yeah,
it's still really
it's nothing.
affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last and certainly not least is my favorite, Klaviyo. Um, honestly, I'm on Klaviyo. I'm a service provider. So Klaviyo is typically for e-commerce, right?
Brilliant.
It's a very good platform for e-commerce, especially if you're on Shopify or WooCommerce, BigCommerce. They have really good native integrations with those platforms and they do work
Yeah.
really well with them.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would say if you're an e-commerce website and you're on one of those platforms, you're going to want to be on Klaviyo over anything else.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
but I will say one thing that I like about Klaviyo is they get when you pay for it, it's like I think what you said with was it Brevo or maybe it was Braze where the automations are included. So whatever you pay
Yes.
for, like you get all access to like everything. It's
Oh,
not like Mailchimp where
Mailerlite.
you have to MailerLite.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like Mailchimp where you have to like upgrade your spending to get
Mm.
flows and automations. Klaviyo, you do have access to all of that stuff right away as well.
Yeah, I actually am working with a client at the moment who is like quite a big user of Klaviyo, and what I really like about them is their reporting.
Oh,
Um,
it's amazing.
it's really
The
good. Like you can,
benchmarks.
yeah. So
Do you
you,
look at the benchmarks tab? I look at that all the
yeah,
time.
yeah. So you get something. So benchmarks, well, basically they take into account your type of industry, and then they provide you with what others like you are, how they're performing, and they benchmark your performance against theirs. So it can either be a good or bad thing for you, but you get to see where you're performing. Um,
I
and
think
just
it's
generally speaking, their reporting is of like really good quality, I think.
the reporting that you can A1 pull as far as like, CSVs is
Yeah.
amazing. They have a
Yeah.
dashboard that you can customize
Yeah.
and you can put, okay, I want to watch this flow and I don't want to maybe see the conversions of the flow. I want to see the click rates or
Mm.
whatever it is. You can customize the dashboard. But then also like inside the automations and inside like the campaigns menu, you do get a good overview of analytics that is easy to read as well. I love that you can go inside of a flow and you can see the individual emails and like their open rates and click rates and conversion rates
Yeah,
right
that's
there in like
brilliant.
one snapshot. And so if a flow is not performing, you can be like, oh, it's this email and it's the click rate or it's the open rate. You can just be like more narrowed in on like where you can improve.
Yeah, I would say like it's definitely one of the best for reporting. I personally prefer it for e-com type businesses because of the amazing integration with like Shopify and other e-com websites. But yeah, the reporting is high up there in terms of quality. You get to really see what's going on. Um, there you can really drill into what's going on with a flow or a campaign, and it just helps you make those decisions. So if you're kind of if you're just starting out, personally, I would go for MailerLite if you have no list. But if you've got some form of list and you've got products to sell, personally, I would go for Klaviyo um, as a way to really start to accelerate your sales.
Yeah, the one thing I like about Klaviyo is, you could, I mean, I know like they could start on MailerLite. If they were e-commerce, they could start on Klaviyo and then they could stay there and scale forever and ever and ever. That's the
Yeah,
one thing
it
I
might
do
be
like.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about any migration, you
I think
know.
if you're a service provider, I'd say, and you're starting out, say MailerLite. I think if you
Yeah.
are starting out and you've got Shopify, then yeah, it makes sense to start on Klaviyo. And the support is really good. The chat function, if you're
Yes.
stuck, is really like I don't know if I seem to always get through if I ever need to speak to
Oh,
someone.
they
Like
get
it's
back to me within the same day. Like I have clients who like will reach out to me and be like, Angie, my, such and such button isn't working. And like I end up kind of going back to them and being like, you'll honestly get faster response and you'll get someone who will go inside of your account for free to fix
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like it's gonna take me a few days to get to this and I'm gonna have to charge you for it. Like the support will help you very quickly. And like sad
yeah.
for me to give business away, but that's just the truth of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's I think it's like like we said at the start, like really weighing up what's important to you. If you are someone who wants a response quickly, like I am, then
Yeah.
look at the customer services, the customer support that you get. I actually found it, we haven't mentioned one today, which I'm not the biggest fan of, is SendGrid. And they
Mm.
actually hide their customer support tab because they don't want as many people to contact them. It's so hard to
So
find.
that's
It's
kind of like
really,
Squarespace too. Squarespace has emails and it seems like they'll do everything in their power to get you to not contact them.
I'm not keen on Squarespace emails. I've worked with a
Oh,
client that has
it's
those.
horrible. Don't do
Just,
Squarespace emails.
it's awful.
It's
Um,
awful.
but yeah, it's like customer service, I think, is important because you want to get to those questions quickly. You want answers. You don't want to feel like you're completely on your own. So
And you
customer
also
service,
don't want a customer service rep who's going to be like, go to this article, this will help you. Because
yeah,
I hate that because I've
yeah,
already done that. And I'm
yeah.
reaching out to you because I don't know what to do. Your article is not helpful enough.
Yeah, exactly. It's frustrating because it feels like you're not, I'm still stuck. So
Yeah.
quality of customer support, looking at reviews, those sorts of things, making sure that you are um, signing up to a platform that you really feel comfortable with. And remember, you don't have to stay with them if you really,
Mm-mm.
these trials are supposed to give you an insight into what, what suits you. Is the pricing right for you? Is it easy to use? Do you feel like actually overwhelmed? Like, for example, if you're a small business owner and you start with Braze, I'd say you're in the wrong car. Like that's completely, it's like having just passed your test and getting into a sports car. Like it just doesn't make sense. And you have
Mhm.
all these gadgets and buttons and you don't know what to do with them and actually
Yeah.
don't need them in the start at the start. So I would get into something much more simple that you would find easy to use in the beginning. Trust me, it's horrible feeling overwhelmed if you're buying something and you don't need all of the features. You're just wasting money. So
Right.
buy into something that's right for your business.
Absolutely. And then if you have like a gut feeling that you got into an email account and you're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable in this, or like this feels intimidating, or this feels hard, or like I can see I already have limitations with the things that I want to do, don't be afraid to, move over, um, you know, as soon as possible if that makes sense for you, because it's a lot easier to migrate the smaller list that you do have. I will say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on a project at the moment. It's taken 6 months to migrate. So it's a much bigger list, obviously, but you just want to make sure that you are choosing a platform that really works for you and speak to people that are doing similar work to you and what they use. But the trials are such a great way to get a feel for the platform.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
you
really
really
is.
got to get in there. You really got to get
Yeah,
in there. You got to open it up, and you just got to spend a little bit of time in there. It'll be
definitely.
well worth it, because remember, the ROI of email marketing is what, $36 to $1. So
Yeah.
it is well worth it to set up an email marketing account that is going to help your business scale, because that's exactly what it can do. So
Yeah.
that's what we want it to do.
Yeah. And all of this is absolutely worth it. It may feel like, oh God, I've got to sign up to all these things, but this is such a crucial way for you to grow your business, however big or small. Even
Yeah.
if you already have a list, this is how you continue to build sales, repeat purchases. If you are just starting out, this is a really important strategy for you to wrap your head around, because if you're not thinking about how you're going to grow your business, if it's just relying, we've talked about this before, but if it's just relying on, say, social media, you're limiting a lot of your business potential. You're stopping
Mm-hmm.
yourself from growing. So
Mm-hmm.
even though this may feel like a lot, it's actually not. It's pick 2 or 3 platforms, trial them for a month, see which one you like, play around with them, and then, make that decision. Don't get too caught up and not make a decision after a month. You just want to be really strict with yourself. After a month, which one am I going to go for? Um, so hopefully that's been helpful for you all. We've covered quite a few of the main ones, haven't we, Angie? I'm sure there are
I think
others,
so. There's
sure.
so many.
There are
Yeah,
so
there's so
many.
many. So
There are
sorry if
so,
we
so
didn't
many.
cover the one you're on. Definitely reach out to us to see if we have, an opinion, if you're still like, oh, unsure.
Yeah,
Us or any other email marketing contractor is going to be able to give you like some good advice onto where they think you should be, because it really does depend on your particular business, what you're selling, and where you're at.
yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
So yeah, I think
All
that's
right.
all.
Thank you, everyone. And we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
You've just listened to Females Across the Pond and Beyond podcast with your hosts, Clara and Angie. If you like our content, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on the platform of your choice. Is there something you want to hear about for our next episode? Email us at femalesacrossthepond@gmail.com to let us know. Until next time.